let's talk about the poison cycle. Okay, let's take governments for example. Let's say governments launch an agri budget and they say we're going to pay taxpayer money towards the agriculture sector so that agriculture sector can go to natural farming. And innately in the current state of things, natural farming makes vegetables more expensive. To get that agri budget, you need to sell more expensive vegetables, which you guys are betting on that middle class, upper middle class is willing to pay more for my vegetables. On the other hand, the government agenda universally will be to lower inflation. Lower inflation means that the inflation basket needs to be lower in price, right? Which means that tomato, pyaz, basic vegetables, they
Milk,
cannot go higher in
eggs.
price, right? So it becomes cyclically poisonous. मैं जो मर्जी सोच लूँ. At the end of the day, a business has two parts primarily, and we deal with founders. There's build, where I love my product, I love my factory. Oh my God, I'm going to do this. Oh my God, I'm going to build this in the most sustainable manner. And then there is sell, where please buy my stuff, please look at it, please I wish to educate you, and we call that marketing, right? Selling is a very tough part in the vegetable space, fruit space, and whatever it is. And the government is against you. They're playing against you despite whatever they say they're going to do for the agriculture sector.
And you said it at the beginning, farming is a very low remunerative field.
So I would
There is
not say
uncertainty, there is logistics, there is mandi, there is looks, there is quantity, there is so much going on. And at the end of the day, as Akhil said, you want the prices to come down. Since COVID, we have been reading this whole thing on, oh, inflation is so high, oh, interest rates are so high. What is the Fed going to do? What is the RBI going to do? How is the RBI reacting? How is the Fed reacting? This is this. So there is this entire bubble that is created, which is like 2 and 2 is not making 4. 2 and 2 is making 50.
I would take a stand to challenge this. I would say all of this is solvable. Only thing is, we need to clear our priorities and we need to create a balance, like you said. And it's not that government is against us or against farmers or this thing, but
They are against price raises.
unfortunately, I would say that, see, there are certain commercial compulsions, there are certain political compulsions. There is also has to be a social compulsion and also has to be an ecological compulsion. If we balance these four, I would take an example. And it's not that I'm questioning the subsidy given to farmers. The subsidy is given on chemical fertilizers. There is no subsidy if you are using natural fertilizers or producing natural fertilizers for your own farm and using it. So on one side, you're giving a subsidy on natural chemical fertilizers. On the other side, you're not giving any subsidy and support to the natural farming. So natural farming will become costlier. So I'm not saying you withdraw the subsidy, because there are farmers who are not making enough money and they need to use fertilizers, and there are people who are consuming these products to continue that, but support natural farming also. If you don't make both of them fight on an equal this thing, as they say, samtal jameen honi chahiye ladne ke liye. If you're making giving one guy a higher stand by subsidizing a chemical farming, by giving subsidy on urea and phosphate and DAP, and natural farming, whoever is making his own gobar khad or vermicompost, is obviously incurring all that cost in making that and no subsidy for that. So that is what is creating this balance. Then the ecological, end of the day, you will end up putting so much of pollution control mechanism, water treatment mechanism, all those things are cost. So if we look at a long term and we look at balancing all the objectives, this is all solvable problems. It is not. But yes, sometimes we do get myopic, and as we said, that we sorted the shortage of food grain problem by opening up the floodgates for chemical farming. Probably selectively we would have used.
But balance is overrated. Na?
Balance is a privilege.
Balance is something we speak about so often. Every Bhagavad Gita says, oh, you should be balanced as a human being. Every single person preaches balance. But yeah, balance doesn't exist in the world. If we knew balance today, each of us would be very different human beings. We do not know balance. Balance is a very idealistic concept.
And balance, when we talk about in commercial terms, comes down to this very beautiful number called GDP per capita. And no matter what the economy of India is, on a GDP per capita basis, we are in the bottom 10% of the world. And we can say it's because of the number of people we have. That is also not true. China is far, far ahead, right? So we don't have the privilege of balance. And when a new farmer is going to teach their child how to farm, they are going to teach them urea use karo. They are going to teach them ye sasta milta hai. They are going to teach them all of this stuff.
We are not governments. We are not policymakers. So we are today talking to you guys who are doing a startup in this space where we are talking about the organic farming, because that's the concept that you all are bringing in. So we do not have government influence. We do not have law influence. So we have to work with what we currently have, or what we are foreseeing that we will have.
And India doesn't have taxpayer money. India does not have the authority to provide subsidy to both the sides. India does not have the authority to supply the weapons and the shields, right? So we are in the middle. And when you are talking about education, for you guys, the huge challenge is consumer education. It's also farmer education. And if the farmers were educated, then the crops right now would be priced higher. They would right now be giving it to the cities at a higher price, right? It doesn't add up.
Yeah.
So because the farmers are not in control of the prices,
Because they don't know.
the mandis are setting the price.
I think I would start with your balance point, and I would agree with both of you. Too many questions, and I'm going to challenge. So please don't mind. Balance is a privilege. Very well said, Akhil. And Vishnu was talking about Gita, talking of achieving balance. So I agree with both of you. And that is exactly the need to strive for the balance and try to strike a balance, because it's not there today. It's there as a privilege. But if we don't do it, nature will do with us. Whether you look at floods coming in the hilly areas where there is unbalanced construction going across the rivers, or global warming for that matter, or pandemics striking because of our food habits changing and we not doing enough for the air pollution and water pollution and everything. So yes, it does not exist today. Perfect balance does not exist. I agree. But yes, all of us need to do our bit and try and achieve that balance. That's what it is all about. So we are trying to do our own bit. In terms of governments, sometimes yes, it is a compulsion, which is either commercial compulsion or political compulsion, which makes them create certain unbalanced policies. But I won't say rather that there is a lack of funds or lack of intent on this. It is probably they need to balance their short-term objectives, which are basically their GDP, tax collections, and political compulsions, vis-a-vis the long term. So that is what is required, and it will have its own way of correcting itself.
So balance has a commercial aspect to it. If it did not have, it would be very, very simple to do. Let's talk commercials. What does it cost? What does it take to build your exact business? What does it take to get the logistics set up? Logistics being how something goes from one place to another. And what does it take for something to get to my door and for it to be good enough?
So last about 3 years, we spent building up the business right from scratch. When you start something, of course, you have something in mind. You start it, then you realize, probably it can be done better in this way. And those things have happened. That happens over the journey of 2 years. It happens over a journey of 1.5, 2, 3 years, whatever you want to put it. We are still at a stage where we are still evolving and figuring out every day how we can be better tomorrow. Coming right from the business operations, we've got multiple farmer partners where we are procuring a produce from. So we procure it in large quantities. It comes to a warehouse, which is at Gurgaon, Sector 102. At a warehouse, the sorting, grading of the produce happens. The best quality produce is, of course, sorted out for the B2C customers. The grade B quality produce is sorted out for the B2B customers, a Horeca segment, which is what is acceptable over there. Once all the sorting, grading, packing is done at a main warehouse, we have the transportation happening to various hubs. That's our delivery points. Across, since we are catering to entire Delhi NCR, we've got one hub around Dwarka, one hub in South Delhi around Kalkaji, and one hub in Noida, which is Sector 14 Metro, around over there. Once your produce, your packed items reach these hubs, you have your last last mile which is taken care of by riders. Now, a major challenge which we've been facing, which a lot of guys have not been facing, is our average order value is working out between 1500 to 2000 rupees, while the industry standards are at about 400 to 600.
If we were to put it in terms of vegetables, let's take any 2, 3.
It's not only vegetables. Again, what we are confusing, what we are getting confused over here is that we are only a fruits and vegetables player. No, we are not. We are also a player for healthy food alternatives. Actually, what we look at our website, which is karzyliving.com, is that if you, as a customer, want to look at any food produced which is healthy, you come on to us. It's not only the fruits and vegetables. Yes, the fruits and vegetables are natural, organic, the exotics. You also have the bakery section, which is a lot healthier, not your normal breads. You have no maida wala breads also. You've got sourdough breads. You've got gluten-free breads. Apart from that, then you have the dairy section, which is instead of the normal milk that we were just talking about today was your mother dairy ka 1 day old milk. Here you're getting milk which is milked the same day. It is packed and delivered to you within probably 5 hours of
Oils
milking.
and ghees.
Oils and ghees. We don't have the normal
Organic and cold pressed oils, different varieties of oils and desi ghee.
Yep.
A2 ghee. You know.
Now we don't have the normal ghee that you're talking about. We've got A2 ghee, which is made by the hand churned Bologna method. You've got cold pressed oils, which are not cold pressed and wood pressed oils. So the fact is, we have these products. It's just that it's like we are your go-to marketplace for anything that is healthy.
So we have grains, we have pulses, we have spices, we have dry fruits, we have oils and ghees, we have fruits, we have vegetables. So the entire range of what we consume in our kitchen.